Spice Marriage Show, we'll talk everything relationship and marriage, and I am Regina Dokasi. Today on the topic, we're still flogging the word domestic violence. It's become an epidemic that we have to look into it as much as we can. A lot of Nigerians are suffering, a lot is happening in the society today in the cause of domestic violence, and a lot of people just think it's all about being physical abusive. But we have some wonderful guests in the house today that is going to talk to us about this topic. How do we control and how do we manage domestic violence? We'll meet them after the break. We'll be right back. Alright, welcome back. Like I said, our topic says domestic violence, and I have Barrister Harry Oguche Obe. He is from Economic, Social and Cultural Rights Department of Human Rights Commission. Sir, you're welcome to the program.
It's my pleasure.
You're welcome. And also on my right, I have Mr. Mohammed Karim. He is an actor. You're welcome to the program.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir. This is Spice the Marriage Show. We talk everything relationship and marriage. And like I said, our topic says domestic violence. And Barrister Henry, your commission has, I think you guys have been doing a lot about domestic violence. I would want to know, how have your people been able to control the word domestic violence with what has been happening in the society?
Yeah, thank you very much. Just like you said, it's almost an epidemic now. Epidemic in the sense that from the human rights perspective, it has been an upsurge of reportage. A lot of people have been encouraged and they're actually coming forth to speak about domestic violence, especially within the home front. And what we have done is to encourage people to look at it from the right perspective, that nobody has the right to abuse you physically or psychologically. It is prohibited under the law, both nationally and internationally. So we sensitize people against domestic violence and also let them know that they have the right to speak out. So what we have done is to make it like a thematic area of focus within the commission. And we have dedicated officers that are trained to handle issues of domestic violence.
Are they the ones that are called the defenders of today?
Yeah, everyone that works for the protection of human rights can be seen as a defender. Okay. But yeah, they can be seen as domestic violence rights or right against domestic violence defender, if you want to look at them that way. Okay. But they are thematic officers trained to deal with issues of women, children, and every other abuse that is prohibited within the home front and even in the public space.
There's this declaration I heard that they made sometime like 2005 or something thereabouts about declaring that about human rights. Was it effective?
Yeah, it is effective. You're probably talking about the UDHR, what we call the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Well, it's like the default document internationally that other countries use to also develop their own documents on human rights. It is effective in the sense that it provides a framework for countries to actually put in place their own legal framework or policies to protect human rights within their public space. So it's been effective, and it's meant to actually give a guideline on how to articulate policies or steps that is geared towards the protection of rights.
I'm going to come back to you because you just said something on how policies to help the victims and all that. I'm going to come back to you on that. But Mr. Karim, what would you say with the recent times, what has been happening about domestic violence? What would you say about that?
Thank you very, very much. Let us first look at exactly what you meant by what question you just asked. In the first place, I see domestic violence not only from the angle of probably the men abusing the women. what do you say about a woman in the house who probably decides not to talk to the husband for as long as she wants, maybe because of the fact that she might even be the one that's taking care of the home? I think that it's violence on its own part. And most of the time, what causes all those things is I think we have lost our values of marriage in recent times. I think that's one of the major things that is causing domestic violence in our nation these days.
Barrister, do you agree to that?
Yeah, yes, it has a lot to do with value system and our orientation, and the way we also look at the makeup of the home. And to agree further with him, it has a lot to do with the impression we have about the partnership we call marriage. It is a partnership, and there should be some level of consideration of equality. Once you consider equality within partnership, you know that you have your roles to play and the other person has his or her role to play.
But most men don't agree that women are equal to men.
Yeah, that is where the
gender equality thing.
Yes,
a lot of you men, you guys don't agree that we women, we can be like you, or we can even attempt to do some things like you guys, Mr. Karim.
Let me actually borrow the words of the ordinary president. He usually says, what a man can do, a woman can do later, not better. Having said that,
yeah, it's also possible. I agree with you. A human nature is such that, and I'm seeing it from the human rights perspective, every human being has the tendency to be abusive.
Yes.
Every human being.
Okay.
So it depends on the society or the environment you find yourself. So if we delve towards stereotypes that the man is the head, is the owner of the woman, you use your money to buy the woman into the home, then you create an environment that gives the impression that the woman must even submit to abusive tendencies of man.
But in most cases, this submission thing, let me just borrow from your word, the submission thing. A lot of women do submit, but still they are being abused by their husbands.
Yeah, that's why I tell you that every human being has a tendency to abuse the weaker one.
So what is that thing that makes a man, that makes most men, because it's mostly from the men. Yes, I agree that every human being, we all have tendency to be violent in one way or the other. But it is said something brings up something. If there is no smoke, in most cases, there is some fires will not even want to come up. So in most cases, men, I know in recent times, women are already now they're wanting to take over the bill of being more violent than the men. But in most cases, men always come up with one thing or the other, even when the woman is submissive, even when the woman is doing everything to make the home peaceful. Why is it that most men, what they cannot take from their wives, they take them outside? Mr. Karim.
You see, I had to laugh a little when you asked that question. Actually, normally I would have said I am not the right person to ask that kind of a question, but I will still see what I can do to the question. I believe that men that are abusive at home most of the time is caused as a result of the fact that they are not man enough.
Mr. Karim, I'm asking, why is it that if your wife, let me not use the word wife, most men, their wives can do something to them, they will like, I cannot take it, but someone else outside will do the same thing to them and they will smile over it, they'll be happy about it.
Someone
but the
else
one they
like
call other women outside. Other women outside.
You're still trying to drag me back to that aspect I actually didn't want to delve into.
No, you have to.
I probably don't understand how some men have some.
There are some men.
Outside.
There are some men.
But I think it all has to do with the same thing I'm still telling you. You have your wife, you feel maybe familiarity, maybe you've been so familiar, you
I
already
thought your wife is
believe.
meant to be your friend.
Yeah, you have this belief that after all, she's my wife. There are certain things she cannot do. She must respect me. The religion says she's my better half. She's the neck. I'm the head. All those kind of thinking goes through the minds of most men. And when a woman does a small thing that is not even an issue, they get really, really angry about it. But when they go outside, you see a small girl, some are even as young enough to be their daughters, smacks them on the head and they laugh about it. I really, most of the times when I see those things, I laugh. I feel so bad. I feel, why would men chipping themselves to that level?
You've not gone through that process before?
How can I go through that process? For God's sake, I'm good looking.
All right, we're still on to Spice Marriage Show. If you have any question or any contribution on this topic, please send us a text on any of the numbers scrolling on your screen. We'll be right back. Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, this is Spice Marriage Show and we are discussing domestic violence. And on the studios, I have Barrister Harry Oguche. He is from Human Rights Commission, and also Mr. Muhammad Karim, an actor. All right, welcome back. Like we were talking about values, what is the curse of all the domestic violence that we are experiencing today? Yes, you talked about measures that the human rights are trying to use to control domestic violence. What has the Human Rights Commission done so far with this current crisis that we've been having?
Okay, thank you. Like I said, what we've done is to carry out some research so that we have data to refer to and use for programming. We have also carried out a lot of sensitization on the effect of domestic violence, and also telling people that there's a place you can come to report or speak up. It's with regard to marriages and the union in homes, and the fact that there's no justification for any form of violence, be it psychological or physical.
Okay.
So we let people know that there's a particular threshold you cannot go below.
Which is?
Which is, once it results to violence, you must abstain.
Okay, do you subscribe to any little domestic violence at home? The
No.
woman should just pack out and leave.
Oh, no, we let people know that marriage is not a bed of roses.
Okay.
It is about the management of differences. And differences can come in form of temperament. It can come in terms of appreciation of values. It can also differ from intellectual capacity. But once you have agreed to a union or partnership, you must subject yourself to some of those limitations.
Do you subscribe to divorce?
Well, where it leads or it has potentials of leading to death,
Okay.
or extreme violence, yes, I subscribe to separation.
Okay. Mr. Karim, you're
Yes.
smiling. You subscribe?
As far as I'm concerned, in life, it's very, very easy. What you cannot take, don't taste. Even when you taste, don't swallow.
Even when you swallow.
Even when you swallow, look for a way to excrete it. It's as
Okay.
simple as that. You don't have to die in a marriage.
Okay.
If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Please leave. Your life is most important.
Okay. With the recent killing, women are now taking over. Normally, like we've been talking about, it has always been the men violating women. But most women today, in our society today, a lot of women are abusing men.
Yes.
So what can you say about that?
Well, I think the world has really evolved. from what it used to be years back to this day. First, women are beginning to see or are beginning to realize, no, let me not use realize, they are beginning to think that they must have equal rights, especially after the Beijing conference. They have begun to see themselves as equals to men more than what it used to be. And you know the way women think, they are so emotional, and most of the times emotion can go overboard. And I think that is one of the things that is causing all these things. That is why, like he said before, everybody has the tendency of being violent.
Yeah, of course. Barrister, you're married.
Yes, I'm married.
How long have you been married?
I'm quite young in marriage, just about 20 years.
Wow.
Wow, 20 good years.
Yeah.
And how has it been so far?
Well, it's been interesting. Let me say that, but it's not been free of stress.
Okay.
Because, like I said before, I said marriage, like any other partnership involving individuals, is about management of differences.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've been able, by the grace of God, to maybe have a marriage that other people look up to and think is a model. That is because from day one, both of us made a vow that whatever differences we have, we must settle it by ourselves.
Okay, have you had any major challenge in your marriage
It
that really
depends on-
shook the marriage?
No, not yet.
Not
And
yet.
and
Are you
don't think
expecting one?
No.
Mr. Karim?
Yes.
You've been married for how many years?
Well, I would say very old in marriage. I've been married for 10 years now.
Very
Yeah,
good.
Because 20 is still young in
Still
marriage.
young.
I think 10 might be too old then.
Okay. All right. Have you had any major challenge?
I really don't think so.
Everybody comes to say, I really don't think so.
No,
I really don't think so. But
I
I know
don't
there are
think
lots
so.
of marriages today
No.
that are facing one. See, we are talking about domestic violence, and sometimes a lot of people look at this domestic violence thing like it's just a physical thing. Do you know you can be abusing your wife by neglecting her? You can be
Yeah.
abusing your wife by not even talking to her, not giving her that little time that she
Yeah.
wants.
Yeah.
We women, we go through a lot of silence torture. Most of us, yes. A lot of women don't say. But if some women come out to say, this is what we are going through, it's more than fighting. So you want to tell me at one point in your life, there was no time at all that you were like cranky. You said, I want to be with myself. And your wife was trying everything to reach out to you. There was no time like that.
Just like you said now, you said women at times stomach a whole lot of things and they
Because
don't voice it.
some-
What you don't hear, you wouldn't know.
Okay.
She has not told me that yet.
Okay.
So I wouldn't know if there is anything like that.
Okay.
I'm not saying 1 or 2 times you will not have incidents that you probably will get angry. That
Okay, but
you will
deep,
not get
inside,
to
but deep inside you,
violence.
but do you think deep inside you, you have done something to your wife that you think she just had to overlook, and you know she was hurt, but he didn't say anything just because he wants to be the man.
I wouldn't know whether she was hot or something.
But you know she was frowning at some point.
Of course, women must frown. Even at times, women just wake up.
And what about men?
Women can just wake up on a day like this and they just get angry over nothing.
Barrister, is that true?
Well, it's not just women.
Even men, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, men do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
men do the
just
same
wake up
thing.
on a bad side and
It's human. It's human
Okay.
to do that. And the way to handle such thing, once you notice it, you should just know how to manage it.
Okay.
There's no marriage, even if it is 1 month old, that will nobody will be truthful enough to come up and say that, look, I've not had any challenge at all in my marriage.
Okay. Barrister, Harry, we want to say a very big thank you. But before we go, I would want to ask, what is that thing that you would want to say to the society, to the country, for all those that have gone through domestic violence?
The message I have for everyone out there is that any form of violence is not permitted under any circumstance. If you're engaged in violence, desist from it, and you that has been a victim of violence, the only recipe for such situation is for you to speak out. Do not shy away. It is not a private matter. Always seek for counseling, and where it will lead to permanent damage or any grievous harm, please seek for solution. Do not endure abuse or violence. The Human Rights Commission is there for you. Our services are free. You can walk into any of our offices, talk to somebody. We have trained counselors that are focusing on issue of domestic violence or issue of marriages or homes, women, children, men that are also abused. You are free to come there, talk to somebody. That is the first step out of such abuse. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much. Then before we go also, please, you're going to look into the camera. You said you've been married for 20 years. And I think someday we're going to celebrate you for that. Now you need to look into the camera, say something very nice to your wife. And probably if you want to say, sorry for those times that I was cranky and I could not say anything to you, just say something nice to your wife at home.
Thank you. Annie, that's how I call you. I love you. I've always told you that. But I know that we've had our own times of tension and stress. It is never intentional. Please forgive me. I always apologize when I'm wrong, and you do the same for me. That is the way to go. Let's keep it up. 20 years is young for me. Others think it's long, and you have made it possible. Beside God, you're the closest person to me. I love you.
Oh, thank you. Mr. Karim.
Was that a line from a movie?
All right, Mr. Karim, what is your advice to people out there?
Well, viewers, like I've always said before, I'm not an advocate of anybody being violated. So if you are in any form of violation in your relationship, your marriage or whatever, please speak out. So I advise each and everybody, wherever you're hearing me from, if you're in a relationship that is violent, please seek advice. And if you cannot do anything about it, quit.
Okay, also you're going to look into the camera like he said. Say something very nice to your wife, and also for all the cranky time that you couldn't say sorry.
I only have a 4-letter word for my wife. I love you. Z. That's my wife. And for everything I've ever done wrong to you, I know you always forgive me, because we've always lived as one. We were friends before we became husband and wife. So there is always a very, very smooth communication in our home. And I really do appreciate you.
I will get there someday, somehow. All right, thank you so much, Barrister Henry Oguche Obey, the Economic, Social and Cultural Rights Department of Human Rights Commission. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
My pleasure.
And also, Mr. Karim Mohammed, thank you so much for always coming anytime we beckon on you. Thank you so much for coming on the program. Barrister, like he said also, we have a program coming up on domestic violence. We're having an event, creating an awareness. We're doing outreaches. I think we have one this week that we are going for. We would want you people to come and be a part of what we're doing. It's alarming. The calls we receive, the people that come to us, sometimes I ask myself, that's why I really said I really needed to talk to you people, because a lot of times when people call and I tell them, go to human rights and all that, I try to ask, is it that they don't answer you people? Because they fall back to me and say, we want to talk to you, we want to know this thing is happening to us and that thing is happening to us. So we have a lot of people on our platforms that are coming to ask questions. So we would want you people to be a part of this. project because it is really alarming. People are not speaking out, but in one way or the other, with this program, a lot of people are coming to tender their problems. So we cannot handle it all. If we have, we know we have it all. So we would want you to be a part of our project, please, to help us attend to these people and see how we can help them resolve some of their questions. Because some questions, I will tell you, I can't really answer them. And you have the right answers to some questions. So please, I would like that, please, people should be a part of our project. If you don't mind.
I think I can give that undertaking on behalf of the Executive Secretary of the Commission, Mr.
Okay.
Tony Ojukwu.
Okay.
We have an obligation by law to attend to those people.
Okay.
We should be thanking you as a non-governmental organization that is interested in solving the problems of the society, because domestic violence is one of the major problems of our society.
Yeah.
So by law, we are obliged to partner with you. If you check our law provides that we should partner with non-governmental organizations or civil society organizations or any other organization to protect rights of groups or individuals. So we are always there. Our doors are open. Please call upon us anytime. Just let us know whenever you have any program, and we'll plan towards it.
Thank you very much.
It's our pleasure.
Oh God, I can't say thank you enough. Thank you so much, both of you, for coming on the program. I want to say a very thank you to my wonderful guest and my wonderful and precious fans outside there for staying tuned at this time and hour to watch Spice the Marriage Show. You've heard it all. It's not easy. Domestic violence is not something anybody should dwell in or sit in and say, yes, I can manage it. There is no management when it comes to violence. At some point, it leads to death. We've recorded a lot of people that have gone. Yes, you will say the stigmatization and all that. You wouldn't want to come out to speak, but sometimes you really need to speak out. If you don't speak, nobody will know what is happening to you. So Nigerians out there, please and please, we have Human Rights Commission. If you have any problem, call on their numbers. Try to reach out to them. One person will answer you. If you think you have been going and going, if you cannot reach out to them, reach out to us. We will reach out to them. They will get through to you. Violence is not the best way for us to go. Nigeria as a whole is going through a lot right now. We have to do something on our own to make our country a better place. We all complain the government. Who is the government? We are the government. If we don't do anything to make ourselves better, a lot is going to go wrong. So let's come together and fight domestic violence. I know Nigeria can turn out to be something very wonderful, a wonderful place and we are happy people. Just that a lot is happening now. But I know, like I will always say, we can get things right. But Spice will always say, whatever it takes in your relationship or in anything that concerns you, you alone can fix it. I am Regina Dokpesi. If you have any question or any contribution onto this topic or any of our topics, please feel free to send us a text or call us on any of the numbers scrolling on your screen, or follow us on all our social media platforms. Thank you so much for staying tuned at this hour. Bye for now.